This stuff happens every single day, just discrimination or judging by a person's looks, and that's been something that you've been battling yourself and your son for so long, and for it to culminate in this is heartbreaking to see that you find a home here in the US and have to deal with these struggles on a daily basis. So.
Be a celebratory time coincides with a disturbing surge of racist attacks against Asian Americans.
Since that attack in some of America's largest cities, hate crimes have surged. A reminder that there is still a lot of work ahead.
Tired, so tired of living in fear.
An Asian American viciously beaten on a New York City subway.
Eventually, an Asian man passes out after getting punched, choked.
We as Asian Americans have too long been considered invisible.
Another attack at an already painful time for the Asian American community.
Our people are getting killed for no reason.
Young's nonprofit Stop AAPI Hate is working to effectively address anti-Asian racism in the United States. Their online reporting center has tracked more than 10,000 hate incidents in an 18-month period.
American leaders say these attacks are a trend, not isolated incidents.
Hello, New York City. I'm Valerie, and I'm thrilled to have you back with us here at What's Up New York. Today we have a very, very important topic, something that is of the utmost importance currently in not just New York City, our community here, but nationwide. So we're here to illuminate the issue of Asian hate, and with us we have our guest, Miss Putri Manis. Correct me if I'm pronouncing that right.
Yeah, Putri Rangkamanis.
There you go. There it is. So could you just tell us a little bit about yourself? How long have you been here in New York City? Where you're originally from?
So my name is Putri Rangkamanis, and if you want the complete name in the passport is Putri Rangkamanis Kianonor.
Wow.
Putri Rangkamanis is a first name. In fact, Putri is a title, but here it became really part of my whole name. Yeah. So I'm a Maranao, and I hailed from the royal house of the Rirampatin from Burukot Maging, and Lanao is composed of founded by Pat Pangampong Coronel. That's 4 emirates of Ranao, more 4 brothers, and the 4 brothers have the Pagawidan, which are the pillars, and so the Sultanate of Burukot Maging is the 15th pillar, 15th Pagawidan, 15th pillar of the Pat Pangampong Coronel. So it's kind of tongue twister,
yes.
But I'm really like purposely presenting it so that the world would know that there is this living tradition, heritage of the Filipinos that is not placed in the open, and also marks the civilization of the Filipinos that is much older than the word Philippines, you know,
yes.
Much older than the civilization of America, actually.
Yes, a much very deep history, yes.
Goes back to 4th to 10th century.
Yeah, wow. And
it's just interrupted after, let's see, 4th to 10th century, there's a Sanskrit empire, the Sriwijaya. 10th to 15th century, the coming of the traders, Islamic traders. So that is the coming in of the Islam in the Philippines.
Yes.
You will see that in the language of the Philippines, this is not very much discussed among Filipinos. For example, face, which is mukha, it's Sanskrit.
Yes.
And then when you say salamat, which is thank you,
yes,
is actually Arabic.
Oh, really? I never knew that.
Peace, yes.
Wow.
So you will hear these words among the Malayo people,
yes,
like the Malaysia and Indonesia. And also you can hear this among Desi people. So we're part of a lot big cultural nations.
Yes, we're very diverse in culture in the Philippines.
But
with a long
the thing
history.
is that after 16th century, the Spaniards came, took islands and named it Philippines. The British came, took islands and named it Malaysia. And the Dutch came, took the islands and named it Indonesia. So all these boundary names are all referencing from the European colonizers, how they divided us, people who had been existing in our own living traditions is up to now still practiced. Now, if it's Philippines, Mindanao really is very contained and rich with that heritage that brings back the Filipinos to who we are before colonization.
Yes, and that goes along with the project you were telling us about before we started, correct? The current project you're working on here in New York.
Oh, yeah, I founded Kinding Sindao.
There we go.
Kinding means graceful movement. Sindao means to light, to spark a light, which the word Sindi of the Filipinos is coming from. So Kinding Sindao was born in 1992, but before that, actually I am a registered nurse. And I was recruited from the Philippines together with the rest of the Filipino nurses.
Yes.
At the height of HIV/AIDS, when there's a big understaffing the U.S. hospitals are experiencing. So, you know.
So they went to find
Filipinos,
Filipino nurses,
and then I'm one of them. So that's my first specialty.
Your start here in the U.S.
Infectious diseases, HIV/AIDS is an isolation case. It's a real pandemic.
Yeah.
And this is very heart-rending when you see this part of the population you serve as a young nurse, actually. And that is before protease inhibitors. When after 5 years, that was the time when protease inhibitors was invented, then HIV/AIDS did not become an isolation case anymore. If you have seen what happened to COVID-19.
Yes, that was actually my next question.
That is
It's
really
interesting you've worked as a nurse kind of through both two
different layers of pandemic.
Multiple pandemics. Yeah, so with COVID-19, going along with our topic today here at What's Up New York, I'm curious to see, as a frontliner, as a nurse yourself, kind of your perspective and your kind of like view on how anti-Asian sentiment became kind of a parallel issue with COVID-19, unlike other pandemics we've seen before.
Actually, it's kind of highlighted given the focus of the camera during COVID-19. But if you're talking about hate, racial hate, or anti-Asian hate, it didn't happen only during COVID-19.
For sure.
Of course, he said that that's a twindemic. Racism is a twindemic.
Yes.
That was not just born during COVID-19.
For sure.
Racism has a very long history. And those are, I mean, these are sad facts that we have to face, but we have to face it with resilience, actually. Now, we talk about HIV/AIDS, there's so much racism there, and too much divisiveness, because there are even, you know, we Asian have this culture that we don't want stigma. So there are cases where Asian patients were actually discriminated, not only by society, but inside the family. In fact, what happened there is the birth of Apicha. You know, maybe that's one of your WhatsApp later. Apicha is, it started with Asia Pacific Islander, response to HIV/AIDS, something like that. But you know, better bring the authority to speak, because that's one of success and one of the big showcase of Filipinos in particular, Asian American in particular, how we stand and we made use of the weakness to become a strength.
Yes.
So with COVID-19, it was what happened to George Floyd really like sparked the activism.
Yes.
To stand against racism, because this is what you call, during crisis, what is unseen will be seen
on surface. Yes.
Like on surface, you know, the something, the sediments under. Now if it's shaken, it will surface. So and the COVID-19 has a lot to bring to us. Awareness as humans, as human, our resilience, our own internal racism, how we have to examine it ourselves.
Yes.
Because, you know, we Filipinos, we are diverse ourselves. And that diversity could be a strength, at the same time a weakness.
Yes.
Because of our own history, our own colonial history, we have so much internalized oppressions ourselves that we do not know how to confront, or we're too, I'll say, we're too Filipino to confront. Like, huwag mong sabihin yan, you know? So, like, if we don't know how to confront it, it will remain, you know, it starts as a boil, and eventually it will become a cancer, because we do the hush-hush, we do the marites, instead of confronting an issue and really studying it and looking at its history. And we are all part of it.
Yes.
You know, we're all part of that racism.
And that's important that you're mentioning this. Is you're such a vocal person in terms of Asian hate right now, and really being an advocate for it. And as a Filipino, that could be harder. Even Asian culture, we're very reserved as a culture in general. So using your voice and like speaking out about these issues is very important. Going along with that, another reason you advocate, I understand, is for personal experience. So could you tell us, if you're comfortable as much as you want, about your experience as a victim of Asian hate yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I always put an action to an issue, a problem.
Yes.
Because I'm a person who don't complain. I would like to find solution. So the height of COVID-19, I work as a public health nurse.
Yes.
But then during the height of COVID-19, we are all, what do you call this? We are all pulled out from our station and placed into hospitals, but has a very large understaffing, and according to your specialty, you are going to work.
Yes.
So I'm in the epicenter of the epicenter.
Yeah, front lines.
Front lines. Yes. While doing that, at the same time, I am so concerned with the environment, because not everyone have the capacity to buy the mask, the face mask, the PPE. And also there are a lot of old people who don't have actually families. So we did volunteer job together with other young people, you know, calling, checking on the population that may need help. So that has been the advocacy. I go down to the subways, give masks. I go to the streets to give masks. Until one day, we were actually asked to report already to work, the public health work.
Yes.
At least once a week. So I went to work, and I saw a lot of demonstrations, actually, people who don't like to wear masks, people who don't like vaccine. So anyhow, it has been a habit.
Yes.
That I put mask, like 2, 3 masks, 5 masks in an envelope and put it in my bag. And when I take the subway, I give it away to people.
Yes.
Like, you want extra mask? Or for those who don't have masks, we give. So one day, I was giving away masks. There's a couple with a child in a carriage who are not masked.
Yeah.
So I
Offer,
I'm always graceful to offer, in the campaign of
paying it forward. Yeah.
We would like to prevent the spread of this.
Yes, yes.
And you would like to save lives, you know. So I gave masks to the man and said, I have free mask. It's an envelope. So he grabbed the envelope and opened it and said, mask? Did he throw it? And I said, oh, I'm just concerned because, you know, it's nice to be with mask, especially we're in the subway. The woman stood up and start punching my head, and the man was picking up my, was grabbing my bag because it's full of mask. And I would like to fight back. But I saw that there's a child in the carriage, so I was just covering my face like this. Don't hit my face. In my mind, please don't hit my face because I have a show on Saturday. And then, but at the same time, I'm looking at which, I know martial arts, so I said, which is the fatal points that one kick and she will just fall.
Self-defense mode,
But then I'm about to kick her, and the child is looking at her mother committing a crime of violence. I said, I don't want to be carrying this child home. So I tried to feel what part of her fist was hitting me. She was hitting me with this, not with this, not with this. I said, I can just handle this because this is less fatal. It will not break my head. So I was trying to count with my patience and count until when is she going to stop. I was actually calling for help. Nobody helped me.
Really?
Nobody helped me. And this is not new because there are several, you know, Filipinos who had a very bad assailant, you know, like Noel, there's a blade that cut her face and no one even helped him. He was bleeding. So my case, I don't know why people did not just say stop. Maybe they're afraid that these people will hit them too. So, you know, there should be a howler. Those are the training we have to place all over media, that you just have to howl. If one will howl, then people will just say stop it,
strengthen
you know?
numbers.
You don't have to intervene physically, just voice. So no one. And then when the train stopped, they ran away. I stood up and buzzed the emergency button. And the guy came back and took my phone. So I ran after the phone. I was calling the police, like, police. There's one policeman in the subway. My phone was taken from me. My phone was stolen. He was just looking at me like, maybe these are kind of everyday scene. Everyday scene in the subway that even NYPD is immune. I don't know. So I went up trying to follow those guys. And then there's already a lot of NYPD because of my buzzing. So I was saying that a person hit me, and he stole my phone. And then they were just saying, Mom, calm down, you're in panic. I said, I'm in panic, that's why I'm attacked.
Of course,
But those are, I think, my proposal to NYPD, to have more education on psychology. And really, and education to emergency, becoming an EMT, you know? If you're a policeman, you have to have that education because you don't understand what is panic and what is a victim, you know?
Especially with rising crime as it is, with not just Asian hate crime, but altogether. Just altogether in the city.
So that's my experience, and I had, I was hit here, so my whole face is swollen. The assailant were not caught up to now, never caught.
When was this?
This is August 10, 2021.
2021.
What I feel frustrated is the way I was the way NYPD intervened. And also, I was even telling them that we are the same. You save lives, I save lives.
Yes.
And we belong to the city. We have only one mayor, and that's my boss too.
Yeah.
But I was not heard. They didn't listen to me, and that is one thing too. NYPD should have a class, and my big recommendation is competency on how to listen to victims.
Yes.
You know,
how to show compassion and
compassion, and also don't just look at gunshot or stab wounds. Look at what is hurting inside the person, because if you want to save society, because saving one person is saving society, just like nurses.
Yes, for
You
sure.
know?
That's
NYPD NYPD are like nurses. You save one, you save everyone.
Yes, they're frontliners, just like NYPD, and it's sad because you were showing an act of kindness and then you experience an act of hatred, which is really sad to hear. And I thank you for having the strength and the courage to share that story with us.
And also, the statement when my lawyers tried to ask a statement from the NYPD.
Yes,
they have to file a FOIL after they have to get it after 90 days. What's wrong with that? And then when they got the statement, it's not my statement. It's a statement of some white man who said, "Officer, I saw everything." So I complained. I complained directly to Mayor de Blasio. And then he sent another 2 detectives getting my statement. But I said, you know, I'm just very professional in this because I told you we are equal.
Yes.
But please take this experience to the next step, that you will meet another person like me who's been victimized, but not as resilient as me. People who don't have the power to speak, people who are afraid. Then what is next?
Yes.
And that is actually cases of Filipinos who don't want to speak. There's a lot of Filipinos who have undergone hate crime physically.
Yes.
But they don't want to speak because they're afraid.
It's hard, and you surely are an inspiration to those. And
I hope so.
Going along with that, because you're so vocal and passionate about reform and making things better for future cases, you were chosen as part of the council by New York City Mayor's office. Could you tell us about the initiatives you're involved in, a little more on that side?
Asian American Pacific Islander Council of the current NYC mayor. It's composed of different Asians, a different Asian race.
Yes.
And really looking at how are we going to be able to put up more interventions.
Yes.
Intervention, and also whatever ways to mitigate what is the concerns against Asian, particularly, which is, crossing. It's really anti-Asian hate crime that is. It's not just sad, but real scary, especially the cases of those 2 Chinatown and Korean ladies who were stabbed in their own apartment.
Yes.
And what is going around, like there are Filipinos who's been pushed and grabbed by hair and nilampaso, like scrap on the So, but they don't want to speak now. It's not about it's not about documented status or whatever. It's about, please bring out the case so that it can be counted, because the commissioner before of the NYPD on Asian hate crime or hate crime do not believe that there's hate crime. That was the time of de Blasio. So that's why the rate of hate crime, according to the news, that the statistics are going down, because how will that statistics not go down? Because there are crimes that are not they're
Recorded.
not recorded,
It
or
doesn't,
not
it's
even
not fully reflected.
not even considered hate crime when it's very clear. In my case, because there are qualifications to consider the case as hate crime, there should be SLAR, anti-Asian hate SLAR.
Okay, so that's actually an important question. What is the definition, or is it fully defined within law of what considers a hate crime in New York City?
Yeah, well, it's not just New York City. It's actually a national law. I mean, it's a federal law. It's Grace Meng, our congressperson, who is actually Queens, who authored that bill and became a law. And it says the crime can only be considered anti-Asian hate crime when there are precedent, right now, predisposing character, that there's a threat. There's a threat that uses Asian hate crime threat, like for example, I want to do the example.
Like use of a slur.
Like slur. Like for me, I'll just use the one that was used against me. Like, I don't want to repeat it, but it's just like, while that woman was punching me, she's like, go home to China, you dirty woman. You go home to China, you dirty Chinese. The guy even said, you terrorists, you know, because I'm wearing hijab. So that's what several levels of hate crime, anti-Islamophobia, Islamophobia, and Asian hate crime. So there's so much hatred that you have to go back to what is going on. Now, during pandemic, there's a lot of people who's been affected with poverty, you know? They lost their job, they lost their family, they lost their housing. So Asians are easy alibi, easy scapegoat.
Yes, targets for
targets. Because first, we're too small. Second, they look harmless.
Yes.
Third, the concept of model minority that has been established during whatever, it starts with eugenics and everything, that Asians are favored because they're bright in mathematics, and I mean, that's just an example. And so the attitude or the concept of, here comes the Asian, they will take the job from us, you know?
Yes.
So there is so much of the divide and rule. Actually, to disempower people is to inject the divide and rule. And if you read the book of Frantz Fanon, Wretched of the Earth, you will see there how Frantz Fanon is a psychiatrist. He's from Martinique, so he's black. He analyzed and he presented what is the pathology of the divide and rule, right? The internalized oppression. So studying the slave mentality, where a cotton plantation slave is being watched. Like, so the master will go to one of the slaves and say, if you're gonna watch all these slaves, what they're doing, report to me, and I'll put white gloves on you. So, then you will say, you will find, issues with everyone just to look good, and the ambition is for you to be a slave with white gloves. So, master, that one. So create stories. So the divisiveness is there, like you become a favored slave over the slaves. So those slaves will not unite to fight against the master. So because you reported so many things, I'll put you to become a slave in my house and put white gloves. And having white gloves it actually is a shame. Like, don't touch my things without white gloves because those belongs to. So this kind of study is applied to us, colonized people, the colonial mentality. So not just Filipinos, but the rest of the immigrants who's coming from countries that has been colonized by both Spain and America or France. So we carry those colonial mentality and biases. And we come here to USA, and because all the races are here, so it's easy to displace, to scapegoat, scapegoat your anger. So that's what happened with
all
COVID.
of this,
Because COVID is Chinese. They said it's a Kung Fu. I mean, you know, the very president of USA said that it's a Kung Fu virus. So every Chinese-looking person is a Kung Fu virus. So easy scapegoat, easy.
It becomes the image of the
image of the Christ. So those are the awareness that we have to adapt to ourselves, and also study, like what I said, the book Wretched of the Earth, and the rest of the analysis of this kind of mentality, so we can acknowledge, at the same time become part of the solution.
Yes, I think in summary, really being aware ourselves, gaining greater knowledge, and just being more like being an advocate, or just listening, or gaining greater knowledge of all cultures is important to combat these sort of things. So I want to thank you so much for joining us today.
I just want to add more, like we all have to be part of an organization that advocate for this, and also advocate more the inclusiveness in our educational system.
Absolutely.
Include the diversity and equity, so that if there's equity, everybody's happy, because you are being treated the way you need to. Your housing, your education, your health is part of that equity, that not only few has the right to some privileges on healthcare, education, and like access to universities, access to education, and educational system itself has to be revolutionized include that content.
Yes,
you know?
with changing times comes, we need to.
Then we need advocacy to do it.
Yes. So with your insights and your powerful story, hopefully we can get to a place where we all advocate for just unitedness all together, and work towards not just a New York that's united, but a country, a world that's united. Asian hate crimes have been on the rise across the country, leaving our Asian American community feeling vulnerable and concerned here in New York. So what exactly is happening and why is the real questions we want to answer today. So to help us understand, we have some incredible experts and advocates joining us here today. Firstly, I want to welcome our guest, Cecile Lai. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so Ms. Lai, before we dive into your efforts to combat these issues, could you please share with our audience, take your time, what happened on that fateful day in Queens?
We came from lunch in Flushing. I was with my sister and her baby, and a couple of my children too. Well, I have a total of 3, so it was my eldest and my other daughter. And after we had lunch, my sister lived in Connecticut, and she needed to go back to work, so she was kind of on the rush and couldn't actually drop us off back home. I live in Elmhurst, so I told her just drop me off from Flushing to the closest subway station, which at that time we were almost in Corona. So I said to her, just drop us off in Junction Boulevard by the 7 train. So as we approached the traffic light, it was like kind of traffic, so we got stuck right before the light changed to red. We were already stuck where we at. So I told her, you know, if the light changed, so we could get off there from there where we're at. And so my son and I got off the car, and as my son came from the driver's side, so he was trying to go around to meet me by the sidewalk, we heard some honking from right behind us, the car right behind us. And next thing I know, I heard somebody like screaming some type of words. And it was when my sister, when the traffic light changed to green and my sister left and the car got closer to us, they started screaming ugly. And then I heard my son looking at them, so my son looking at them, and my son was like, what? You know, what was going on? It was like ugly Asians. They kept on like calling us ugly Asians. And we were gonna try to cross also to the other side of the street, but as they got closer to us, they got actually aggressive, and they still kept on calling us the same thing. And as I approached them, I actually asked them, I was like, excuse me, what did you say? And by the time we got closer to each other, the people in the car, I remember the girl on the passenger side said, oh, ugly Asian bitches, what are you gonna do about it? And I have like some leftover from the dim sum, and as I was holding it, I grabbed the thing and I threw it on her. And actually before I get to throw the dim sum that I have, she threw water on me first from the window and stuff. So that's when I threw the dumpling back. And next thing I know, she got out and jumped on me. In a few seconds, I was knocked out.
Oh my.
So by the time I got back up, I saw my son coming to me, and by the time he got to me, another person, which I didn't know just how many exactly, but all I know is the passenger next to the driver and the driver, but the guy who hit my son, and they all went back to the cars from what I remember. And as we were getting up, they tried to leave the scene. They actually almost run me over too as they were like leaving, like on purpose. Like I was trying to take a picture of the plate when they tried to like hit me with a car, and I actually got that from the video that I took. And so when they left, another stranger came to me that's supposedly trying to help us, and he was also hit by one of the people that assaulted us. You know, and like from there we called the police. We called 911, waited for the police to come in the ambulance, and from there they interviewed me, of course, and the other person, and they took me to Elmer's Hospital.
Gotcha.
So actually one of my really good friend who started reaching out to like some people that helped me through all the stuff that I went through the next couple weeks after this happened, connected me with a lot of good people, which is
great,
like, you know, one of them is Steve and Raga, you know, and Miss Lara, Attorney Lara. So,
Thank you so much for
shaking.
No, it's totally understandable. Thank you for having the bravery to speak out and tell your own story, because this has been such a horrible incident for you and your family, just trying to get home and having to deal with that. I'm getting emotional just thinking about what you had to go through and what you went through subsequently afterwards. So thank you so much for sharing your story. I just want to know, if you're comfortable talking about it, what kind of emotional or physical aftermath did you experience from the attack?
I'm still experiencing it.
I imagine so. It's okay. Yeah, I don't need to talk about it. You're uncomfortable.
Yeah. So it's just I'm still going through therapy.
Yes.
You know, from therapist to actually now psychologist too.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm still having nightmares more. So for my son or my kids, you know, than myself as a mother, like, because initially I think that whole thing was towards my son. So, because it's not the first time that, you know, people try to pick on him, according to like how they judge how he looked like. But yeah, so it's mostly, that's why I also chose to speak up about it, because I'm thinking of my kids mostly, my family, or even, you know, the whole Asian community. Like what, like, you know, what
it's
if
a
it
mother's
happens
instinct.
to your mother?
Yeah, of course.
To my son, it happened like with me. So
I think that's like important to touch upon, is that besides the incident, this stuff happens every single day, just discrimination or judging by a person's looks, and that's been something that you've been battling yourself and your son for so long, and for it to culminate in this is heartbreaking to see that you find a home here in the US and have to deal with these struggles on a daily basis. So wow. So here, speaking out, you mentioned that you're still going through therapy now, and like, what motivated you to continue to speak out about your experiences? What keeps you going in terms of fighting against these things?
Again, it's my children. After the incident, there's so many people that reach out to me, especially people that had something similar happen to them but didn't speak about it. So a couple of Filipino organization in particular, but mostly Asian organization that invited me, and right from those events, people were coming up to me saying thank you for speaking up, because, you know, they feel like they needed a voice, but you know, I've kind of felt that way before too, like probably nobody's gonna listen to me and or pay attention to our case or to what happened to us and not take us seriously and stuff. So like that motivates me more, hearing from people that says, you know, they lost hope from like a local government or the police taking care of the cases that they have, or even if they speak about it, if they're, you know, put attention to it and stuff.
For sure. You mentioned the Filipino organizations you went to, as well as earlier talking about the kind of community that helped you afterwards. Could you just tell our viewers, for anyone out there that is going through similar things, is afraid to speak out, where what are resources they could go to? What's the first step to finding kind of help?
So there's actually a lot of organizations, just just particularly on this type of case where you get assaulted and stuff like that. The one organization that really helped me is the Asian. I forgot exactly.
It's okay. Yeah.
But they actually did the GoFundMe.
That's great.
For us, for me and my son, they helped me follow up with, like, if I needed like counseling and stuff like that. If I needed the lawyer to follow up with the case and stuff. So there's really a few, yes. And again, if for me, I think it's because I also chose to be active about it.
Definitely.
And that's when it started linking to each other, all the people that heard about me and what happened, and they started reaching out to me, and like, it was actually overwhelming also, but it's good.
Yes.
And in a good way. It helps if they also consider your sensitivity on the case, on the whole thing.
Yes.
Because sometimes you never really know the hidden agenda on other things. So that's what I would
for sure.
Advise, like, if you're a victim, I'm not saying it's just you have to also be smart about, like, how or which one to consider, which one could really help you, and what is their true intention on like reaching out to you and stuff like that. So but and all this whole thing, I guess everyone just tried to do some type of awareness on what's going on with the Asian community and stuff like that. So it's not really gonna help, hurt to connect with them and stuff.
Yeah, I think the most important thing for viewers to take away, or people going through stuff like this, is be sure not to go through it alone. Definitely look into it, do your research, but it's important to find help, especially when you're going through something, even if it's not this. So thank you. Just going back to the incident, when you learned that there's just some little bit of justice that happened, that your attackers were indeed arrested and charged with these hate crimes, what were the emotions or feelings that you experienced in that moment?
It is, like, first of all, I didn't think they will act on it so fast. So I was happy about that.
Yes.
It's emotional.
How fast was it?
Probably like less than a couple weeks.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, well, at least for the two.
Yeah, for the two of
and
the three, right?
The last one was like almost a month ago only, when he got caught. But I think the response from the local officials were really good. That I think being that also I kind of put it into public, what happened, that made them act faster.
Yeah, it was all over the news and everything. And it's important that you kept the conversation going.
Yes, because I deal with like a few friends that this type of incident happened already, and they weren't outspoken about it.
Yeah.
Just because, like what I said, they don't think that people would believe them or take them seriously or follow up on their case and stuff like that. But I've been active in the community, in our community, and I feel like, it's just time for us to say something about it. Somebody have to speak up and stand up for us. I mean, maybe it's me, maybe it's somebody else, but I mean, at least, you know, I start from myself.
Yes.
And hopefully it would inspire somebody.
Definitely.
One by one.
You're inspiring me, and I haven't gone through the same issues or troubles as you, but you just inspire me to help out the community that I have around me, the Asian community. So, in your opinion, what are, through speaking out and being like an advocate for Asian hate, where do you think the root or the causes behind this rise all of a sudden Asian hate comes from in recent years?
You know, because during the pandemic, I also worked as one project manager from a local doctor here in Woodside, and I got like a couple of people attacking me being Asian, like some lady spit up on me on the street saying we're the one that's spreading the virus and stuff like that. Mind you, we're the one helping you. We're like outside in the winter just to make sure you get tested and stuff like that. And so many Filipino nurses or Asian are like serving or working in the hospitals and stuff like that. So yeah, so it's really it's just, for me, the I think mostly it went up, the number went up, right, because of the pandemic.
Due to the pandemic.
Yes, but I also think it's just ignorance and lack of, like, how do you call it, like people needs to be,
like a lack of perspective.
Yes, people needs to be educated about our race or everybody other race than America.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of things event that I attended through Governor what's her name? Governor Hochul.
Yes.
Okay. And actually there was like this law, I think, that they're trying to pass to have other religions, especially Asian religions, to be like a holiday. I think it's such a good idea just because it's so diverse, especially here in New York.
Yes.
And by that way, like if we celebrate somebody else's holiday, religious holiday, we will have more awareness of somebody's tradition and religion.
For sure.
You know, because I think it's some type of education.
Yes.
For other ethnicity and stuff.
Yeah, and we were speaking before the interview even started about raising awareness, advocating for Asian hate, or just Asian awareness in general. And of course we have the month of October for Filipino Americans.
Yes.
But 1 month's not enough. This is an important discussion to have throughout the years. So I think that's a nice place to start for sure. Looking forward, just to go out with some inspiration, what are your hopes and aspirations for the future, not just for yourself, but for the society as a whole?
Of course, to have some type of safety, you know, like to feel more safe and protected.
Yes.
You know, I mean, the whole New York right now is scary, not just for Asian. You know, there's a lot of things going on, but I think we're more vulnerable as Asians. So, you know, hopefully, I'm hoping that we as Asian unites more, you know, do more and say more.
Yeah.
So we can also protect each other, just to be vigilant for each other.
Yes.
So.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your story with us today. You're such an inspiration and giving us your insights into these crimes. We're just so thankful for you joining us. And we hope for a more compassionate society in the future, especially right here in New York. Because all you can do as a mother or someone part of a family, everyone has a mother, everyone has a father, like just so that there's safety for our family unit. is all we could ask for.
Exactly.
So thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me again.
Join us next time for another meaningful conversation. And until next time, What's Up New York, I'm Valerie. Good night.